I'm Max Pringle with these headlines. President Biden today rolled out a new set of initiatives to reduce healthcare costs. He plans a crackdown on scam insurance plans, new guidance to prevent surprise medical bills, and an effort to reduce medical debt tied to credit cards. Biden's remarks will build on previous initiatives to limit healthcare costs, with the Department of Health and Human Services releasing new estimates showing 18.7 million older adults and other Medicare beneficiaries will save an estimated $400 per year in prescription drug costs in 2025 because of the president placing a cap on out-of-pocket spending as part of last year's Inflation Reduction Act. Gearing up for his 2024 re-election campaign as inflation remains a dominant concern for voters, Biden has emphasized his policies to help families manage their expenses, as well as a spate of government incentives to encourage private sector development of electric vehicles, clean energy, and advanced computer chips. Republican lawmakers have criticized Biden's policies by saying they have spurred higher prices that hurt consumers. Canadian officials say wildfires raging across the country have already broken records for total area burned, the number of people forced to evacuate their homes, and the cost of fighting the blazes. And the fire season is only halfway finished. A health expert also warned that smoke from the fires can cause health problems for people living in both Canada and the United States. Officials said warm weather and dry conditions across Canada indicate the potential for higher than normal fire activity through July and August. As of Wednesday, there were 639 active fires burning in Canada, with 351 of them out of control. So far this year, there have been more than 3,400 fires, well above the 10-year average of 2,751. The European Union has struck a deal to provide millions of rounds of ammunition to Ukraine. The news comes as Kyiv continues to ask allies for more firepower to help it regain territory seized by Russia during its invasion. Trent Murray reports.
The European Union will allocate €500 million to help boost the production of ammunition for Ukraine. The deal, which was struck in the early hours of Friday morning between the European Council and European Parliament members, comes after weeks of negotiation over funding. The agreement is expected to come into force later this month and will see subsidies given to European weapons manufacturers to encourage them to both speed up production and reduce bottlenecks. Ukraine has consistently called for more ammunition as it continues with its counter-offensive, arguing that it is still outgunned by the larger Russian army. Trent Murray, Berlin.
The United Kingdom is celebrating the 75th birthday of its beloved but increasingly creaky National Health Service. It's considered the crown jewel of Britain's post-war social welfare system. Charles de Ledesma has more.
Britain's state-run National Health Service, the NHS, is celebrating its 75th anniversary, but faces difficulties such as staffing shortages. Created in 1948, the NHS, the cornerstone of the nation's post-war welfare state, is a revered institution that promises free medical care to everyone in the UK. Ellie Orton from NHS Charities Together says the British public holds the organisation and its workforce in the highest regard.
We know when we ask the public what's the thing that they hold most dear in the UK, they say it's the NHS. And when we ask them what's the career that they hold in the highest esteem, they say it's the NHS workforce.
But the NHS faces many challenges, including a record high of 7.4 million people waiting to get hospital treatment. As well, Britain's departure from the EU in 2020 made it harder to recruit medical staff from other European countries to fill the many staffing gaps. Charles de Ledesma, London.
And I'm Max Pringle. You're listening to Sojourner Truth on Pacifica Radio.